Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on April 21st, 2021 at approximately 5:06 a.m. PST. There we go. Live video. That hiccup we're not going back to correct. Okay, now, we talked about family yesterday and how important it is, how it interlinks. But the reality is, before family comes, and this is why karmic law says you must be true to you first. If you're not working properly, you're not going to be, if you're not taking care of you, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to take care of other people. Now, this boils down to a very simple issue. Do you personally feel that you are healthy? That you're as healthy as you either can be or desire to be? If the answer is yes, great. It literally doesn't matter what other people think. Problem is that if you're going, oh, I'm healthy, and you're still doing things like drinking in excess, eating in excess, gambling in excess, anytime you're doing anything in excess, in simplest terms, your body is not running properly. Whether it's your body or it's your mind, that's your issue. Okay. So, take a look at it and ask yourself, are you in what you consider good shape? Now, myself, I've got issues, I got kinks that I'm not happy with. Okay. There are things that are not working well, but you have to look at yourself. Now, for instance, my eyesight. These things, I still require them for long distance. Okay, even for medium distance. But where it comes to reading, I've now got 20/20 eyesight. I used to be -6 in my right eye and -5 3/4 in my left, which is comical when you think it was the left eye that took the trailer hitch. But by working on it, by believing in my heart that there is a perfect blueprint for a perfectly healthy body inside every cell in your body, I managed to alter it where I used to have, if I was holding my glasses right here, I couldn't see them. I now have 20/20 eyesight to read. Okay. I used to kill a 26er a night. Okay. Where now it takes me like a decade to kill off a 26er, which is a good thing. Again, in my opinion, I was drinking way too much. I had my reasons for it and they worked out well. However, I'm not content with my weight right now. I'm not content with my energy levels. And frankly, I'm not content with a lot of things. So, I'm working on those internally. You won't see those changes much. But as I get them straightened out, I've got the energy to get the rest of the stuff sorted out. Now, the funny thing is, my shelves up here, yeah, you can't see it. But I've started working, and again, like I said, I've got these little figures that I paint. Okay, they're one of the ways that I relax. Okay, and these are just little fantasy figures, but they're works in progress. Okay, that, for those of you that don't know, that would be classified as a hill giant. Okay, anybody playing Dungeons and Dragons, which is what I do in my spare time, one of the things I do. Okay, these are just things that occupy my time. But I'm eliminating the things I'm not content with. Okay, and I strongly encourage you to do the same thing. Find the things you're not happy with. Those are the things that are going to be easiest to alter. You don't need to know what they're being changed to. What you need to know is what you're not content with, and then make changes. Like then we'll try English. Yesterday, and well, for the last few days, I've been thinking, I've got to get an extra table in here to work with. Problem is that the table I've got is too big, so I set it up, and it worked, but it created an extra problem. So, now I can't alter the fact that I set it up, but I could change what I did with it afterwards. So after I ran with it for a little while, and it was just in the way, I folded it up. It's gone. It's actually leaning on the shelf right behind me now. But in a couple of days, it will be going, it'll end up leaving. Okay, either it'll go to somebody that requires it or desires it, or it'll simply go out the door and end up at a secondhand store and somebody else can deal with it. I could look at it and go, I could sell it, I could sell it and get $5 for it. Absolutely, I could. The fact is that money for me has never been a driving factor. Besides that, and this is where religion did actually get it right, they talk about tithing. Now, that usually that means they indicate they want it to go to them. Well, the reality is, from what I've seen, if the churches were doing what they claim to be doing, we wouldn't have so many homeless on the streets. Okay, the reality is they wouldn't be there. They'd be taken care of. If you look at the different charities, and this is why I don't give to the other charities, not on the whole, and the reason is the greater majority, and check these, this is just my understanding, do not take my word for it, check the facts out yourself. Call the charities and ask them how much of the money that you donate, what percentage of it, actually goes to the charity they're talking about. You may be absolutely appalled at the way that works. I know I was. That's why I quit giving to them. On the other hand, I will do things like take furniture that I don't have a use for, and instead of getting money for it, let's say that thing is worth $10. Instead of turning it over and letting another company sell it and make money off it, instead of getting money for it, I just take that essentially big $10 bill and hand it to somebody that can use it. Okay, I was out at a restaurant one day and ended up buying, I found out it was somebody's anniversary. So I didn't ask them, I just paid for it. Said happy anniversary and was done with it. That's how I do my giving back. But I never give so much that I don't have. In other words, much as, I will give surplus, absolutely. But if I'm short, the reality is, if I feel I still require it, because I do have a munchkin that I've got to feed, I've got a roof that I'd like to keep over my head, the lights on, that sort of thing. So the trick is, especially if you're one of these people that likes helping people, do not make the mistake of ending up shorting yourself so you require assistance, extra assistance as well. And sometimes assistance boils down to an ear to listen to. To listen to what's going on. Okay. One of the biggest things that you have to look at, or that it is wise to look at, is look at the world around you and realize this. Okay. The more people you help, the more you take care of you and the people around you. This will work as a ripple effect, and the world itself will become more united. Regardless of religion, regardless of politics, the people are where the real power is. I believe there was an old commercial back in the 70s calling it the power of the people. And the reality is, when people work together, we can accomplish a staggering amount. Now, understand something very clearly. It is absolutely imperative for society to run for there to be some sort of a political structure, some sort of a governing body. Because the reality is there have to be laws in place that apply to everybody. Okay, there's an old saying that goes that there's a saying that says too many cooks spoil the broth. And what that means is if too many people are making up the rules and trying to direct everybody, there's going to be a problem. Okay. Same applies in business. Partnerships work like a charm, but here's a neat little tidbit for you. If you're considering a partnership, or if you have a partnership for that matter, okay, in business, or for that matter at home, okay, yes, it has to be a 50-50 split down the middle effort. Okay, or not effort, it's got to be a 50-50 split regarding profit and loss. But let's just take a normal business that has a front end, and we'll talk restaurant for simplicity, okay? But understand, this applies to every industry that has an accounting department and a front end or a personnel department. If you've got two people, one of them has to have 51% control, 51% decision making in how finances get handled, and one has to have 51% control and decision making on how the front end of a restaurant or the front end of the business works, the personnel side. Here's why. If it's 50-50 and one of you decides you want to do something and the other one goes, I don't agree with it, if it's absolutely 50-50, what happens is you stonewall. If one of you has definitive, this is the bottom line, when push comes to shove, I'm making this decision. When you do that, and for pity's sakes, put it in writing. When you do that, when you run into a roadblock, you can both look at it and go, okay, you're the final decision. I don't have to agree with it. We can discuss who's running what afterwards. But because this decision has to be made, we've got it in writing. This is the way the partnership works. Therefore, there it is. This is why contract law comes in so convenient. You put it on paper, that's what you got, whether you agree with it at the time or not. Once you sign it, that's what you've got. Now understand, I am by no means a lawyer. Okay, so again, check with the legal authorities, the ones that have the licenses, the ones that have the education, because what I've got is a whole lot of theories, many of which are backed up by thousands of clients that have put the tools to use. Take a look at what you're content with, what you're not content with, and understand you're going through your issues. Everybody on the planet goes through their issues. I mean, think of the poor cheetah. He doesn't, it's not just he has in that he's got day-to-day life to worry about. He's got to worry about, am I even going to catch up with my food? You know, if I want to catch up with my food, I go to the pantry and it's already in a can. It doesn't go very far. And rest assured, if you open it up and it's moving, you don't want to eat it. Okay, although you might want to get it analyzed. It really is imperative to eliminate the things in your life that you're not content with. Okay, I like this. This is just a magnet. It was just sitting there and just caught my attention. It's like, but the sign on it, it's a picture of an eagle, and the writing on it says, the sky's the limit. Well, the sky, in my opinion, is not the limit. The sky is only the beginning. Okay, then you've got outer space, and you carry on from there. But that's a long, drawn-out conversation. Okay, you have to look in the mirror and go, am I content with me? Am I content with the way my life goes? The more content you are with your life, the better you're going to react to other people, the better you're going to interact with other people. And I don't know about you, but I find that when I'm in a good mood, I have a lot more tolerance for people that are doing silly things. But understand, you cannot control the way other people think. You cannot control the way other people react. Now, there are some people out there that are gifted. There are some races that can do that. I'm betting you're not one of them. Okay. But what you can control is how you respond to their actions. Okay, and again, it brings us back to karmic law. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay, by doing that, if you follow that law, as well as the first one, plus, of course, energy out, energy in. These are the only three laws that I promote. They're the only three that, to me, add up. When you look at all the religious teachings, look at all the rules set up in every business, okay, and see if they fit inside those three. If you find something that doesn't fit inside those three, absolutely drop me a line at one of the contact points below this video, okay, because I would really like to know if there's anything that fits outside that. For the moment, my understanding and everything I've looked at fits into those three laws. Okay, each one of those is as important as the next. It's kind of like the three legs on a stool. You're the top of the stool. You're the platform. But those three laws are the three legs. any one of those laws gets out of balance, and you'll find that your life does not run as well as you'd like. Things don't run as smoothly. Okay, this is why, in order to get things organized, regardless of where you are now, again, the people you surround yourself with, that's your family, whether that's bloodline or it's choice or it's a group. Like, for instance, if you find your real brotherhood comes through some sort of a religious or spiritual group, if that's where you get your brother, your support, your backup, if you will, if that's where you get, that's great. Keep going to it. I thoroughly encourage people, even with my being reclusive. Okay, I still encourage people, develop a support structure. There are always, at some point, there is requirement for assistance. Okay, a lot of the changes that I did to my finances came at the assistance and the patient guidance of one individual. Now, others tried, but one made the connection that was able to help me see what was going on and get me on track. Now, rest assured, that took a lot of work. Not always easy, but it worked. Surround yourself with people that are supportive of what you're doing. Now, remember, follow the 3 karmic laws. And speaking of laws, for those of you that are in a position of making laws, and here's the neat part, it's not just the politicians that are in a position to make laws. Well, technically it is, but everybody that runs a household that has more than one person in it is a lawmaker. Okay, every one of them is a politician. And the reason I say that is because you have to lay out rules that apply to everybody. Because if the rules do not apply to everybody equally, regardless of the walk of life, okay, then society will fracture. Okay, and when it fractures, it develops a secondary culture, which is where you have the marketplace and the black marketplace. But the rules still have to be consistent. In the secondary society, if the rules there are not equally applicable to everybody, it will fracture again. Okay, and that's where you end up with your border wars and your gang wars and this sort of thing, or border wars, as far as countries go. But get this, if they apply to everybody, people will settle into it. Okay, now I'm here to tell you, I've seen this happen multiple times. Now, of course, I've got the advantage, and you don't have to believe this one. You can choose to look at it in history books, and they still do a not bad job on that. But society is at a breaking point. Okay, you either have to start working together, and you've got to start focusing on the similarities between people, not on what they call things. Okay, I mean, William Shakespeare put it best when he said, "A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet." This pen, doesn't matter what you call it, if you put it on paper and you move it, it leaves a mark. Okay, you can call it a pen, you can call this your finger, you could call it a stick you could call it a stick of spaghetti. I was going to say stick of dynamite, and you could. Okay, it won't matter if you're still taking this configuration, it's still going to write. If you put it down on paper and you run it across, it's going to leave a mark. So if you're gathering with a spiritual group, okay, and they're telling you that you're better than everybody else, or that those people have the wrong belief, you're probably not following the person that you really should be looking to. Okay, this idea, that's called fear mongering. Oh, be afraid of them because they're not like you. Well, as my dad used to put it, this world would be an extremely boring place if everybody was identical. Okay, even when you look over my shoulder here up on the wall, okay, you'll see the eagle. Think that's an owl on the left, and I'm not honestly certain what the little guy is. Not from here, and I don't recall. Mind you, if I turn around, I can look at it and figure it out. Oh, that's a bush baby. Okay, they're all animals. They all have their place in the world. Okay, but if you look at the eagle and the owl, they both have wings. They both fly, but they both serve a different purpose. Okay, I mean, you picture it this way. Can you picture an eagle trying to hunt for mice and what have you in a crowded forest with wings like he's got? The owl is designed for it. Okay, eagles are designed for something else. Every individual has their strength. Every individual has their weakness. There is invariably, there is always somebody better. There is always somebody worse. Okay. Now, the neat part about it is I do have a religious background. I was raised in a Christian home. And therefore, do I believe in God? Absolutely. But I remember having a conversation with God one day, and even he said, yes, as far as this reality goes, he is absolutely the top of the totem pole. Okay, however, this isn't where his world, where he is the top of the totem pole, is not the end of it. There is somebody beyond him. And I know there's those of you that are going to stand there and go, there's nobody more powerful than God. Well, and for this world, that actually pretty much applies by whatever name you use. Okay. But the idea of being told that you have to fear somebody that can go, planet's gone, talk about wasting an awful lot of energy. Okay. If God was really that bad of an individual, this planet wouldn't exist. The human race would already be gone. It's time for us to start looking at the similarities and work together. Because I'll tell you, ask any mechanic, okay, any doctor. Matter of fact, if you ask the doctor, it's even easier. Ask any doctor that has been to war and is now not in war. It is easier to operate on somebody if your power lines are running smoothly, and most importantly, if people aren't shooting at you or blowing your building up. If you're trying to save lives, it is so much easier when people aren't shooting. If you're trying to cook, it's so much easier to cook, to make food for yourself or for others, if you're not worried about somebody shooting you while you're at it, or worried about a car driving through the front window. Okay. Now, in all fairness, worrying about a car driving through the front window isn't half as big a problem as having the car drive through the front window. It is time to look at people around you and start working together. Because together we can actually make this world a much more enjoyable place. People keep looking for things that they call by a number of names, but the Garden of Eden, Shangri-La, these sorts of places, paradise. Funny part is, it's not a physical location, as in way over in Europe or something like that. Like I'm in Canada. Okay, but this wonderful world where everything runs smoothly, that is right at your feet, but it's up to you to start making the changes. It's up to you to take responsibility for your own actions. Okay, by doing that, like the park around me, when I go for a walk, most people know each other. Most people will at least say hi to somebody when they come, or they'll stop and talk to a newcomer. Now, bear in mind, with the world the way it is, we still keep our physical distance. Okay, even outside, we tend to keep our physical distance, but you don't have to be 3 inches from somebody or within 6 feet for them to hear you. And if you do need them that close, you might need to look at something to do with your own physical health in order to get your voice to project that far. Okay, but it's time to work together. Now, yes, I've said this multiple times. Okay, and I've just made another note for myself because I'm looking at this and there's stuff behind me I've got to get done. But until then, because we always keep these short, like I said, but give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and then, that worked out well. Okay, subscribe to the channel because we do have a lot of information coming out. And again, thanks to the people that have encouraged me to do this, it has really helped me get my head on straight and get into a routine. So, subscribe to the channel. If you're looking to connect with me, if you've got questions on any topic, okay, I've been working with people on personal and professional levels since I was 10. Okay, from a professional standpoint, as far as generating an income through said work, I've been doing that for, well, I think it was in my mid-20s. Yeah, it would have been my mid-20s. Or very early 20s. 23 it would have been when I started. 1986. Okay, so when I'm talking about statistics and the things I've seen, it's based on the fact that I've got about 80,000 clients under my belt. But we're going to keep this short. Well, we're going to kind of bring it to a close here. Okay, it's time to start working together. Focus on the positive things around you. Focus on the similarities between you and those around you. Okay, get clear in your own head what you're content with in your life and start altering that stuff so that all you're left with is what you're content with. Okay, if you spot things that you're not happy with, make a change. If you don't like it, change it again. But I'm going to bring this to a close. So I will be back tomorrow. Until then and beyond, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.